Morning hair routine is quite extraneous, so I sleep with my hair down, which is very important as to having really good dreams, I find. And when you wake up when you've had a good dream, you generally just feel a lot better than usual. And then the second step of my hair routine is you put it in a bun. And that concludes my hair tutorial. Thank you very much. This video has been great. Just like the police station, I get it. My name is Dorsey. I am 25 years old. I'm a freelance photographer here in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. I started photography when I was the ripe age of 16 years old by stealing my grandfather's camera, which was an old Nikon something, but it would, looking back at it now, it was definitely a piece of shit. But I would steal that and take pictures of the cats, flowers, and general other things like that. And that progressed into shooting my friends, shooting skateboarding, shooting anything that I could. Photo, video, whatever, and I just consumed and grew and one camera to the other, and then you fast forward 7 years and now I'm sitting in a chair. You know, a person with a camera in their hand can literally get into anywhere because all you have to do is just hold a camera in your hand and just say that you're media. You know, for example, I was at a show. It was in 2014. I saw Young Lean play at the Rock Pile in Etobicoke somewhere. And yeah, I had my camera with me because I was naturally just wanting to take pictures. And so I went to walk up on stage and the guy was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And I was like, oh no, I'm with the media team, so I just need to get some stage shots. And he's like, okay. I wasn't with the media team, that was a lie, but I got on stage with one of my favorite artists, so like, win. My favorite mood and emotion to shoot is, anywhere between witty, charming humor and more somber, pensive portraits. Anywhere in between that is kind of where I live. If it's, a guy picking his nose or somebody thinking about their dead cat, probably those two things is exactly where I live, The thing I love most about photography is probably the malleability. I specialize in studio portraiture, not studio portraiture, but studio portraiture. And the fact that you can control limitly every variable available to you is, I see that as a really interesting challenge and idea, because you can mold everything down to the lighting, the posing, the subject even, and there's a lot you can do within very subtle changes and differences that can totally reshape an image, a photo shoot, by bringing an idea from something so little and just making it actual. I like that. Well, portraiture is the bread and butter, but as for other styles of photography, I quite like shooting product, because product doesn't talk back to you and complain about things. But I'm not saying that everybody complains, but it's nice shooting different things. Actually, lately this summer, I'm getting a little bit more into the car culture. I went to my first car meet last night, and I met a bunch of people, and I just want to try more automotive photography, more cool styles, and seeing if I can transfer the Lane Dorsey look into automotive car photography and seeing if it's transferable and readable, and just experimenting with it. I think it's a really important part of artistry, is just trying shit, whatever that shit may be. I realized I don't even have my camera with me. What am I doing? I use a Nikon D850 with a battery grip, and I only mainly use two lenses. One of them is a Nikkor 50mm 1.4, and the other is a Sigma 105mm 2.8 macro, which is an old lens that I inherited from my grandfather. I think it was an old film camera lens, but the motoring still works with digital cameras, and the greatest lens I've ever used. So that rarely ever leaves my camera. Use it a lot. Post-process is a... every time I say the word post, I keep thinking like Post Malone. That bastard. Post-process is pretty important with my work and my workflow and my look, because if you see my raw shots, they're nice, they're good, but I mean they don't retain that quality of the end. The editing is a really big part of my process, and even before I turn on my camera, I'm already thinking about the colors, the treatment, the editing, the retouching of what I'm going to do to that specific image. So you're always thinking about everything as you go. But yeah, Post is Post Malone, best album of the year. It's a very big part of what I do and how I do it. Oh, Dropbox. Yeah, I usually just send proofs. I don't watermark it because the people that I shoot with, they just know, they're not like dumb. Well, actually, some people blow it and some people post proofs and kind of do that stuff, but I don't really get bothered by that too much anymore. I used to get super bothered by it because as a fine artist, the photos aren't finished yet. How dare you post my images without my consent? But people are just going to do it, so you just have to deal with it. But I send client proofs in Dropbox. They go through that archive catalog, pick their favorites, tell me what numbers, and then I edit them and retouch them and send them back. Done. That's it. It all depends, actually. There's a lot of both. Mainly, the commission stuff comes to me, because it's really weird to be like, hey, guy over there, if you give me money, I'll take your picture, and it won't suck. That's a weird conversation to have. But 9.9 times out of 10, if somebody reaches out to me asking for photos, it's already assumed that it's a paid thing, just because of experience, stature, technique, skill level, all that kind of stuff. But the stuff that I hunt and I go get, chances are those are just freebie creatives, but they also have friends that will see those images, and then those people will pay me. That's worked out quite well for me in the years, just by reaching out to people, doing a shoot, their network seeing the images and being like, I want that. Who did that? So that works great, kids. Try it. Lately, did you go to the bathroom? No. There's a photo in the bathroom. We can get some B-roll of that. Of me just taking a piss, looking back, and just there's a photo I took of a who's now a friend of mine. His name is Carlos Bustamante. Basically, everybody knows him as Carlos from YTV. For people my age, I'm 25, and I grew up in the YTV era of Channel 25 on TV when I was a youngin'. And he's always been a somewhat childhood persona, and I got to a point where I was like, you know what? I'm gonna hit him up and see if I can do a shoot with him. And he responded back to me within 20 minutes being like, yes, I love your work. I love the ideas that you want to do, because I told him what I wanted to do. And the main idea was I would shoot him in a full-blown, nice suit with just Nerf guns. So you get a sense of, nostalgia and youth within the Nerf guns, and then you get the essence of a full-grown man in a suit, because he's got 2 kids. He's 30-plus years old. He's not young anymore, but he's pretty young up here. So I wanted to portray that in one JPEG. So that was a really cool turning point for me in my career of just executing images that I thought of and I thought were funny, and then I shoot it and it turns out they were funny. Oh, it is crafted from years of shooting everything. I look back at when I was your age, when I started, There's a lot of things that I did back when I was young that I still do now in terms of post-process, styles of shooting, the ways I'm shooting it, the timing, the posing. You know, there's a lot of things that transferred from when I was a youngin'. Yeah, you don't create a style, it just happens. It's just something you can't push, you can't rush. You just need to develop it yourself, and it's literally a part of growing up as an artist, making your own identity, your own look, your own way of doing things. And you know, the greatest thing about style is that people can look at images online that obviously the photos are stolen. I'll get people messaging me when they see my photos on other pages being like, this is definitely your shot, because I can tell, because it looks like your shot, but this guy's posting it, you know. So the fact that the artwork speaks louder than words is super cool, and that all stems down to having a wicked stee, which is skateboard talk for good style. Honestly, no. I've never had a point where I've wanted to quit or change things. I've had points where I'm bored, as anybody does ever, you know. But for me, I suffer from a very unfortunate disease of I am literally never bored, because I always have something to do, be it photography or music, or whenever I get acting or modeling jobs, or working on my car, or skateboarding, or shooting the shit with my mates. Like, there's always something to do, and I actually think it's quite important to have that, because an artist should be somewhat very well versed, and you shouldn't live in a cave only focusing on your art. You need to spread your wings, and you need to fly, and you need to just experience more, because those experiences will result in a difference in your work. And I've never wanted to quit photography, just closed Photoshop and opened up Adobe Logic, you know, like it's all good in this hood. When I was younger, actually, when I was 17, I spent $600 on a lens. I saved up a bunch of money working at whatever shit job I was working at the time, and I bought myself a really nice Nikon 60mm 2.8 macro lens, and I use that lens all the time. And I was on a shoot once. One of my first clients when I was 17 was shooting for the city of Mississauga, and on a location shoot, I had my camera bag down, hidden behind a table, and I would go back and forth. And when I got into the car and opened up my bag, my lens was gone. So that kind of sucked, but I didn't have my camera stolen. I didn't have anything detrimental lost. I just lost a really nice lens that I saved up for a few months to get. So that was a pain in the ass, but a lesson learned, because since then I've never broken anything. I've never lost anything. I try to treat my equipment very diligently, you know, keeping it clean, keeping it up to date, keeping it modern. Just, you know, treat it well, because I mean, it's your well-being as an artist, because I take JPEGs for a living, right? So I need my hardware to work, you know, because if my camera just poops out and dies, you're kind of pretty screwed, more or less, unless you have a backup camera, which I do in that case. And I've never had any real crazy things happen to me that was devastating. I've lost files, I've lost hard drives, I've lost PSDs, I've lost client photo shoots, but you just got to keep chugging. The show keeps rolling, and just learn from it. Ignorant clients. Well, I'd be lying if I said every client is a blessing, but the likeliness of that is very nil, because just the way this industry works is that you can't always control who your clientele is. You can mold it, but, if somebody's going to pay you for photos, you're not going to say no. Chances are you're going to do it. So I've had to shoot with people that are less than desirable in terms of, as I mentioned earlier, taking proofs, posting them out of context, taking my intellectual property and editing it themselves, thinking that, I can do what he does. And it's just all little nuances of just, annoyances and whatnot. So fact of the matter is, you're going to have to deal with poopy people, but you also deal with great people. You also deal with amazing artists and amazing talent who just want to grow, and it's great when you come across that, because that's what I'm in for it. That's what I really love my job for, is just meeting the people that are hungry for growth, hungry for success, and they use me as a vehicle and as a catalyst of using my artwork, my images, to get them where they need to go. Like shooting album covers, magazines, headshots, all these things, and it's pretty cool when that happens. I've had a few cases where friends call me back years later being like, those headshots you shot for me got me a job here, and here, so thanks for nothing, you friggin' idiot. If there is any advice I can giveth thee on your journey to photographic or videographic excellence, try saying that 5 times fast, is that there is beauty in fuck-ups. Because there's going to be nobody... I really hope you know how to use the censor button on this thing. Holy cow. But there's nobody that's going to take you under their armpit and show you how to do things. It's very much a DIY process, and there's a lot of opportunity in that to really craft your own way of doing things and your own way of operating that is either likewise or different than other artists. But knowing that right now is one thing, but in 2 years, you're going to look back at right now and just, oh God, I used to edit like that. That is horrible. Oh my God, I was garbage. And then at that point, 2 years later, 1 year later, 1 month later, 3 days later, you'll still look back at the shit you used to do and just be like, oh my God, that is terrible. But that's all a part of growth. And another thing I should depart with thee is social media is a tool. So don't be a tool using social media. Use it properly to, be a vehicle and a catalyst of propelling yourselves into a bigger pool of eyes. Because I would not be sitting in this squeaky chair if I didn't have a Facebook when I was your age, or if I didn't get an Instagram in 2014 or whatever, because it takes a really big world and it makes it small, and you can get paid for it, and it's friggin' awesome. Gang. Butthead. And she smells like feet.
That's 7 Hail Marys, bucko!
Bucko.